wait to see that. Okay, so welcome to the meeting of the K-12 Education Subcommittee of Ways and Means. We're going to take up two bills for voting, and then after that, we will have a little bit of a presentation and discussion. House Bill 340 is the School Psychologist Interstate Licensure Compact. And this is something that was brought before us in a different fashion. There was an interstate teacher accreditation compact last year. We didn't pass that. There were some concerns about having the same standards as some other states. School psychologists, a smaller group of people, and this is kind of becoming a good thing to do to get people in the profession. And so I feel like this is a bill that is worthy of our consideration. I support it. I will point out, as was pointed out in the hearing, that it is a priority for the Black Legislative Caucus as well. Alistair, I'm going to let you explain it a little bit without too much detail. You know how to do that, and you got the floor, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. So basically, this bill creates an interstate compact between any member states who join it, in which they recognize each other's school psychologist licenses. In order to qualify for licensure in another state, a school psychologist must hold a home state license, satisfy any state-specific requirements, complete any applications, and complete any renewal requirements that the other state has. Besides, the requirements for a member compact state are that you establish a home state license that requires at least 1,200 hours of supervised internship, of which 600 hours may be completed in a school, and graduate from a qualifying school psychologist education program. Those are already requirements in Maryland law, so Maryland would not have to change anything about its own law for school psychologists in order to meet the compact. Additionally, the state has to share information with other states about licensees. So if someone is brought up for disciplinary charges, they have to inform the compact of that. Otherwise, there's pretty standard boilerplate stuff in here about the establishment of the compact and what the board of the compact can do. Each member state gets one vote, and they're all treated equally. I could talk about the member states of the compact if you'd like, but only if people are interested.
We'll just add that they had to have 7 states, and they've got that, but there's a handful of other states that are considering the same kind of legislation we are right now. And they happen to be a bunch of our neighbor states, which is kind of cool because it would work better for us in terms of mobility if we were hooked up with some neighbor states. Delaware's already in, but Alistair, I think you'll back me up. West Virginia, Pennsylvania. I don't know about Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania is considering it
and
this
Virginia.
year. Virginia, it passed the House in Virginia and has been sent to the Senate. In Ohio, it passed the Senate, has been sent to the House. So it's likely those states will both be in it by next year. Rather, by the end of this session.
So, okay. The deal is if you're going to get into this compact, you can't amend it. If you amend it, then you're not really in the compact. So we pretty much have to take the bill as is. I'm happy to take a motion, but if somebody feels a need to read through it, I'm happy to wait a week to take it up. I'm interested in moving it today if we possibly can. Delegate Miller, you have a question?
No, just move approval.
Move approval. Okay. So I've got a motion favorable. I get a second from Delegate Patterson. We have a quorum. Is there any further discussion? Questions? Okay. With that, we'll take a vote. All those in favor of a favorable motion to the committee on this, raise your hands, please. I think Delegate Miller's probably in since she made the motion, so that carries unanimously. Okay, next bill is House Bill 486, which is the Ruby Bridges Walk to School Day in Maryland Schools Pedestrian Awareness. We passed this bill last year. The Senate didn't pass it. We're going to do it again. If you remember, the testimony was not sponsor only because they had added something in. They had added in that the State Department had declared pedestrian walk day, and they put some requirements in for the State Department to do this. We didn't really feel that was going to really help the bill pass in the Senate better this year. And so I spoke with the sponsor and I said, maybe you would like to do that as a separate bill sometime, make a pedestrian walk day to school. And they agreed. And I said, so we're going to amend it out and amend it back to the form that it was last year to send it over. So, Alistair, have I covered the amendment pretty clearly?
Yes, sir. limits it exactly the bill as it passed third reader, I think unanimously last year.
Okay. So first I need to we can, if we like, well, no, let's do it correctly, just to be sure. I'll take a motion on the amendment or discussion on the amendment.
Move favorable, please, on the
Thank you.
amendment.
Thank you, Delegate Patterson. Do I have
Second.
I heard a second. April Miller, Delegate Miller, sorry, it should be properly formal. So is there any discussion on the amendment to remove the pedestrian walk day from the Ruby Bridges bill? Okay, all in favor of the amendment, raise your hands or say aye. We're unanimous. On the bill as amended.
Move favorable.
Thank you, Delegate
Second.
Roberson. And I got a
Second.
second from Delegate Patterson. Is there any further discussion on the bill? Okay, seeing none, we will take a vote. All in favor of the bill as amended, raise your hands. Thanks, quite easy. Okay, now there is considerable concern, and we're going to come back to this one too later. We're going to do this as well. I've had a member of this subcommittee express concerns about the longitudinal data system and having a clearinghouse of data altogether and student privacy and student safety. I had two members come and talk to me about that. They're working on getting a feel for that. But also, I've had a couple of members of Ways and Means Committee say that the anonymous reporting system causes them some kind of similar heartburn, if you will, about students being impacted, false reporting, how the information is kept. And so to that end, I brought Kate Bryan to give us a couple of minutes on how the program is already working and why it is pretty beneficial, how they vet complaints and things like that, and also then kind of why it would be important for us to maybe put it in state law to make sure it's cemented in. Ms. Bryant, are you there? Yep, there she comes on camera. So I'll let you talk a little first. If you'd like, take 4 or 5 minutes and talk a little bit, and then we'll see if anybody has any questions for you, if that works for you.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you for having me. So just to start off, there is an anonymous reporting system in Maryland currently. It is called Safe Schools Maryland. It is operated by all 24 local school systems. So it covers 1,422 public schools in the state. It is also used by almost 200, actually slightly over 200 private and non-public special education facilities in the state. So it has been in operation since 2018. I'll give you sort of a really high level overview of how it operates. So someone has a concern about an individual or a school. That individual can submit a report, or what we call a tip, into Safe Schools Maryland. They can do that by phone. They can do it using an online form on our website, or they can download a smartphone app on their phone and submit it that way. That report then goes to our tip takers, which are operated by the Department of Emergency Management. So they have a 24/7 watch center. The tips are triaged in that location. So if there is an immediate life-threatening incident that could potentially be occurring, those tips get routed kind of in two different ways. One to law enforcement and two to the school system or the school. If they're not immediate life-threatening, then they go right to the school. And then the school or school system determines through their own procedures how they're going to investigate, handle, and close out that tip on their end. So that part is completely in control or controlled by either the local school system or the individual private school. So that's sort of the high level operation of the system. As I said, it's been around since 2018. We're hoping this legislation will do a couple of things. It will allow us to codify that a system exists in the state, number one, that the same system is used in the same manner across the state, so that it'll allow us to create sort of guidelines for school systems and schools in how they handle those tips as they come in. And then finally, protect the reports and the reporters from public disclosure. So protect the information under the Public Information Act. So that's what we're hoping the legislation will do. Happy to answer any specific questions you have about the operation, about the volume of tips, or any other questions you might have.
We also have Kim Buckheit, who is,
Yes.
she has a title there too, and it makes her important also. So does anyone have, Delegate Morris, you have a hand up. Would you like to ask a question? Or is that a leftover hand from a vote? Be sure to unmute yourself.
I apologize, my apologies. So thank you, Mr. Chair. When you were talking about the part about protecting the individual that makes the report, would that be even if the case of like false or malicious report? I mean, does that kind of situation happen? If you could speak a little bit to that part.
Sure, absolutely. So we have found, and actually research nationwide has found that the use of tip lines for bullying is drastically reduced and has reduced once students who are reporting and individuals who are reporting find out how the system operates and that they actually are being followed up on. So that in and of itself reduces, and I think Kim may know the number off the top of her head. I think it's less than 3% now of tips are used to target or bully another individual.
Yeah, I mean,
Thank
the school-based processes related to kind of investigating, right, or looking into matters really kind of helps to minimize those dynamics. And I think again, the more what nationally folks have seen, the longer the system is operational, the more you kind of filter out the kind of inappropriate use of the system.
Is that good? Thanks. There was also, how long has the system been in place with MCSS now?
Since October of 2018.
Okay. And I feel like there was a suggestion, there may have been a similar bill a bunch of years ago but I really feel like that was early. We really didn't know how the system was working. As I say, I serve on the board, and that's a pleasurable thing for me. The reports are really good about what this is doing and how this is helping. And I gather then, because you follow up, you don't, this is not a knee-jerk reaction to things unless there seems like someone's in danger. That when you follow up, you often find out, not often, but you can find out if in fact it's not a credible, concern. And then you suggest, I'm going to repeat something you said, that once it becomes clear that's what's happening, fewer and fewer people do it. It's not easy to implicate somebody else or draw attention to them in that particular case.
Correct.
So, and really, since it exists, a legit question is, why are we putting it in the law? And the answer is, it's working so well, and we really want to keep counties into this. I will tell you that we don't have it in the law, and I feel like we overlooked it. We would like to include, and we can discuss this probably offline, but I'm just going to tell everybody, probably put in an amendment to include private schools, particularly ones that accept state funding. I think those students deserve the same sort of service, and many private schools are currently using it, and it's free. Okay, I mean, we're providing it by the state, but it's within MCSS's budget, which is, a reasonably robust budget for them to do the work they do. That we would like to have them be included as needing to use it. They don't have to use your system, do they?
They do not. So the right now, no one is required to use our system. If the law passes or if the bill passes, public schools would be required. If we include an amendment where private schools that accept state funding would be required to use it. The bill also provides some autonomy to the locals that they could implement their own system. So the bill includes a provision to allow them to have something that's substantially similar. But honestly, in our discussions with our LEAs across the state, we have found, again, our system is free to them to use. It ensures that there's an ability for tips to be communicated across systems. So it is not unusual for a tip to come in for the wrong school in the wrong county. And so the system allows us to actually transfer those tips to the correct school in the correct county as needed. So that's been a huge benefit over the last couple of years.
And even then across state lines, right? So, a student is in South Carolina, observes something that they report to their local tip line. Those tip lines are connected. So South Carolina could identify it was a Maryland student and send it our way.
It's a good it's a good attempt, and I think successful attempt to tamp down bullying a little bit and other dangers that exist. I mean, we're talking about weapons and possibly, catching a very dangerous school shooting situation. I mean, these are the kind of things that could actually, and you do have an immediate action group when it goes in front. If it's something that needs immediate action, you do it in the most judicious way, but you do it in a necessary way too. Are there any other questions for our two representatives from the Center for School Safety? Okay, seeing none, I'm not going to do this publicly, but if anybody would like to have Ms. Bryan's phone number to call and talk more about this, you can obviously feel that I have some interest in this bill, and will probably bring it for a vote if I feel like we have proper support. And I'd love to if you guys could feel good about that too. So anybody who would like to just catch me down in committee, and I can connect you guys up. It seems like we're at the end of the discussion on this, and I appreciate your time, everyone. I appreciate taking up the two bills, and to Kate and Kim, thank you both for being here. Very nice of you guys to show up. Thank you also to the advocates who have showed up to listen in case there's something we needed. I appreciate your time.